The JIPM Award for TPM Excellence, Total Productive Maintenance. This presentation was prepared in October of 2020.
Although some of our audience has heard of TPM before, I'm pretty sure that only a few people in the U.S. have heard about the JIPM TPM Awards. Today, in the next 40 slides, I would like to share with you just some of the key elements of TPM as defined by the JIPM. Most people in the U.S. are involved with lean manufacturing, and according to the ASQ Quality Improvement Handbook, TPM is just simply a part of lean. The Inks plant in the Edwardsville, Kansas location received the award for TPM Excellence Category A in 2010. This presentation gives a quick snapshot of how the JIPM, Japanese Institute of Plant Maintenance, helps to improve manufacturing plants around the world. TPM is an acronym created by the JIPM, and it stands for Total Productive Maintenance. But I prefer to call it by what it really is, which is Totally Productive Management. It's really a scientific management of a factory. I think it is because of this original name that TPM is misunderstood in most of the continuous improvement and quality systems of the USA. TPM is typically seen as a tool to take care of equipment in a lean deployment, sometimes involving operators, most of the time involving operators. I think that TPM as defined by the JIPM is much, much more than just a single tool in your lean tool set. In the past 16 years, Inks International has worked with TPM, and we have discovered a myriad of advantages of this approach to business management. In 1964, the award was just called the PM Award from JMA, Japan Management Association. It was changed to the TPM Award in 1971, and the first award outside of Japan was issued in 1991. Since then, only 93 awards were issued to 87 facilities in the United States. However, a total of 3,500 awards were issued globally since that time. Okay, so I think TPM is great, but where did it come from? The answer may surprise you, it may not. Actually, it came from America. And it started over 100 years ago in the 1920s. This is not new stuff. The Japanese are very good students, and they improve whatever they discover. So they did a lot of improvement over 100 years. It shares the same family roots as many systems commonly used in the United States today. In 1947, Dr. Edward Stemming visited Japan as part of the U.S. outreach to help Japan reconstruct their economy after World War II. Those of you in the audience who are familiar with the quality systems and quality tools certainly will remember most of this story, and it'll be very familiar to you. In 1950, Deming trained engineers of manufacturing companies to improve quality and reduce manufacturing costs. He later realized that he was talking to the wrong people. After training hundreds of engineers in the new methods and being asked for repeat performances before the engineering group, he began to speak directly to executives at major firms. And there he hit the mark. Just having smart engineers does not change the company. Management must believe in the scientific approach to manage a factory. The Japanese took heart to the teachings of Shewhart, Deming, Duran, and Feigenbaum and started to build one of the most powerful economic nations on earth. In 1971, the JMA created various awards for PM progress. And in 1981, the JIPM put the TPM body of knowledge into action and began to issue JIPM TPM awards. Is lean part of TPM, or is TPM part of lean? Good question. The Lean Handbook from ASQ Quality Press covers TPM in 6 pages and defines it as a method for taking care of your equipment. They also credit TPM with one of the key metrics for any factory, which is OEE, Overall Equipment Effectiveness. They also credit TPM for using several lean tools such as 5S, Visual Workplace, Pareto charts, root cause, and corrective action, and standard work. But as I have learned over 16 years of deployment, TPM is not just about fixing equipment. It is about the proper way to manage a factory.
TPM is a holistic and structured approach which defines key roles within an organization.
And is built on informative checklists and audits and reviews to assure that the entire company is focused on continuous improvements and holding the gains. This builds a strong improvement culture. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. TPM involves much more than just taking care of the equipment. The equipment must be running when it needs to run at full speed and making perfect quality. TPM achieves this by focusing on loss elimination. Take a look at some of the losses that might happen any day in an ink plant. Not running because something's broke or not lubricated, or you used the wrong lubricant and it seized up, or a contaminated lubricant and it was ruined, or loose nuts or bolts or exposed wiring or neglected bearings. Missing operators who are sick or not trained or busy with something very urgent but not important. Orders that don't make it to the scheduling department in time. All of these are losses that contribute to inefficiencies and delays in the manufacturing process. This table shows the relationship between the 7 lean wastes that are used by the lean manufacturing process and the 16 TPM losses that are focused on by TPM in general, according to the JIPM. The key of the 16 losses is to expand the thinking and improvement process to cover where the losses are at. TPM really emphasizes the importance of management living in the gemba, where it happens, or on the workshop floor. It's difficult to solve problems and answer questions correctly while sitting in an office. Visit with your operators and watch and listen. You will be amazed at what goes on, and you may discover things that frustrate the workers who make your products and your profits. It may also frustrate you to see what they're living with. As mentioned before, OEE is an important metric, overall equipment effectiveness. It is a key metric. If a machine is available and it needs to run, it should be running 100% of the time at 100% of the maximum running speed, producing 100% good quality from start to finish. Let's come back to the TPM award process itself. First of all, the TPM award is given to a facility, not a company. And each facility has to be qualified and assessed individually. The interesting point here of the process is that by applying for the award, it gives everyone the opportunity to focus on understanding all of the fundamentals and principles of TPM. If you review the requirements to pass, you soon realize that these are the keys to a successful and strong culture, which builds a strong business. You can see about the 5th bullet point down that the structured targets and metrics are integrated within finance and production planning. We have cost management system for annual goal setting, key management indicators for executive management to use based on a SWOT analysis, KAIs, key activity indicators, which are set by managers and technical staff, KPIs, and a balanced scorecard called PQ-CDSME, which is shown in this diagram. This board is used to track progress for each facility and in each facility individually as a whole. Each facility has a similar metric dashboard. Note that at the top of the board we have what I call the TPM Balanced Scorecard, or PQ-CDSME. You want to have metrics monitoring, productivity, costs, quality, delivery, safety, morale, and environment. All these are covered by TPM using a pillared approach. JPM provides several key checklists that essentially spell out what must be achieved to receive the various awards. As you can see in this slide, there are 5 awards, and the final award is World-Class TPM Achievement. These checklists can be found in the application outline shown in the link below the title of this slide. There are several key checklists depending on award level. For the first 2 awards, there are 3 pages of checklists that contain 10 items for overall TPM policies and objectives, 10 items for effects and evaluation, and 10 items for each pillar of TPM. This page shows the assessment criteria alone. Here is Checklist C. It contains 10 policy objectives. It also contains 10 items for each of the 8 pillars to achieve. And this means that if you're a pillar leader or a pillar guidance person, these 10 items show what should be achieved by that pillar. And then finally, 10 items for evaluation of overall results. If you want to see how your plan fares, download the checklist and rate yourself on all the points. You can get it from the JIPM website, and it's called the Application Outline 2020. Inc. started their efforts in TPM in 2004 when top executives from our parent company asked for an audience at our research and development facility to start activities in the USA after they received the TPM Excellence Award in Japan at 3 locations. They asked us to assign a TPM leader in the United States, and provided resources to help us move toward the application of the award at one of our USA plants. This special presentation was made by key executives from our parent company, members of the board of directors, and others. This meeting was attended by all major plant general managers and production managers, as well as top management, including members of the Inc.'s board of directors. At this meeting, we learned about the activities in Japan and reviewed the improvement results that were achieved. We learned about the 9 key pillars of TPM and how each contributed to the improvements that were made. They presented a summary activity report detailing the accomplishments and the activities that were completed. Finally, everyone was asked to complete several assignments over the next 6 months. They also highly recommended that we consider application for the JIPM Excellence Award Category A. We also were given a 120-page summary report of their activities. Our sensei showed us many aspects of their activities, including a new tool developed exclusively by our parent company called a through-neck analysis. One through-neck analysis was placed on the wall and extended over 20 feet long across the room. All of the participants in the group rolled their eyes and looked at each other and thought, not in an American ink company. As a matter of fact, one of our managers noted to me later that the Japanese just don't get it. They don't understand America. We build our parachutes on the way down. But today, in retrospect, the COO of our company has worked many through-neck analyses and thoroughly understands the complexity, the power, and the value of this analysis tool. All right, so we got started with support from key executives of our parent and the key executives of Zinc International. We then started to align our resources. One of the key concepts of TPM is the concept of small overlapping groups in the organizational structure. From the graphic, you can see how this concept is implemented at Inc. International. A member of each group is a leader or a member of the next lower group. This allows these overlapping groups allows information to flow both up and down the organization without any problems. Besides the overlapping groups in the command chain, we also had a support and promotion team of experts that supported all locations as needed. Many members of these support and promotion teams were actually pillar leaders, and most were also members of the operations management teams. You can see on this side the plant structure, where each plant had a steering committee with various pillar coordinators identified and a chairman, and this committee was used to monitor results and track progress at their location. On the right side, we had a corporate support structure that involved corporate pillar leaders, most of these being vice presidents or members of the operations management team or management in general, as well as the board of directors, etc. From the top to the bottom and back up again. Earlier I mentioned the checklists that are provided by the TPM application outline. Besides being the checklist for the assessment process, these checklists are very helpful as guidance documents for each pillar leader and all company members to see where you're headed, where you're going. Within the scope of most lean activities, American deployment of TPM typically stays focused on autonomous maintenance and planned maintenance, as you can see here. And you'll find these pillars identified clearly in most activities for lean. But actually, TPM must be deployed across all 9 pillars, as identified in this chart here. For the chemical industry, processing industry, we split early management into 2 pillars. So it's actually 8 pillars, but we split early management into 2 pillars. In essence, early product and early equipment management both use the same logic flow and similar planning tools, but it is also extremely important that early product and early equipment management work together directly. So let's take a look at these pillars and see what each of them does and how they have an impact on the facility. First, focus improvement builds the skills for making scientific improvements to all of our processes. These projects can be conducted in any way, in any area of the plant, within any pillar. This is where the famous term Kaizen, Japanese for improvement, is put to work in TPM. Number 2, autonomous maintenance involves every machine operator and every professional maintenance person working together to ensure our factories run smoothly without interruption due to machine failures. It is achieved by improving the operator's knowledge, making safer working conditions, and improving the shop environment and increasing employee morale. Here are a few of the key tools for autonomous maintenance. You might notice that number 7 involves top management in a diagnosis process. That ensures that shop floor operators achieve direct recognition from top management at the VP level for their activities. I have personally conducted over 100 diagnosis meetings where we met directly with operators who were AM team members. I learned more about what happens in Inc.'s factories than anyone can imagine by listening to the operators in these diagnosis sessions. Second pillar, autonomous maintenance has many impacts on the manufacturing facility. This slide shows some of the key impacts that you can achieve. Moving on to the third pillar, we look at education and training. Management values every employee, and using this pillar in TPM, the key is to improve operator knowledge and all persons' knowledge in many areas to help them thrive in their work and their professional life and career. One specific training program that required of all production workers in the autonomous maintenance operator basic maintenance skills class. This activity takes a long time and involves 3 TPM pillars working together: education and training, planned maintenance, and autonomous maintenance. The class includes education on key aspects of machine operating and repair principles. Within this class, professional maintenance personnel teach the operators how to detect equipment problems early using all of their senses, including sight, smell, sound, vibration, touch, etc. You can see some of the topics covered on the right side of this slide. After they complete this course, not only can they understand and sense when something's wrong with the equipment, but it also helps them with a lot of home fix-it tasks that they may need to want to do. Here's a snapshot of the employee skills matrix. This is a comprehensive listing of the skills required for each position in the factory. Each employee is scored using a checklist system and rated from 1 to 5, with knowing about the topic, 2, knowing the theory, 3, being able to perform a task under normal conditions, 4, being able to perform the task under abnormal conditions, and 5, being able to teach others the task. Our fourth pillar is planned maintenance. In a nutshell, planned maintenance wants to stop repairing breakdowns with the help of AM, move to scheduling repairs before the machine breaks down, and predictive maintenance. You can see some of the tools used by this pillar in this slide. Planned maintenance oversees the maintenance activities required to keep our equipment running at peak of performance. Key elements of the PM pillar are a strong focus on mean time between failures, lengthening equipment lifetime, restoring deterioration, and predicting problems before they occur. By supporting the operators in the AM activities, they can increase the success rates for all of these items. The fifth pillar is quality maintenance. And this is not quality control. Using quality maintenance properly will help us eliminate the need for quality control, aka fixing problems at the window, commonly referred to as adds or adjustments. QM will help us move the lab to a QA, quality assurance mindset, simply testing to make sure the ink is correct and providing the certificate of assurance, COA, and statistical data to the customer. This pillar works in the lab and in production to accomplish this goal. Pillar 6A is the first half of the early management pillar, but is focused on equipment. This pillar provides the structure that our engineering department uses to specify, inspect, and install the best possible equipment for our processes. A new machine startup process involves an OEE startup analysis to assure smooth operation when it's turned over to operators. 6B is the second half of the early management pillar, and it focuses on products. This is basically research and development. This pillar is focused on creating and modifying our products to meet and exceed our customers' current and future needs. By working together with early equipment pillar, you can ensure that the products are easy to manufacture consistently. Pillar 7, admin and support, has a wide reach. This is basically the pillar that touches all the areas that are not directly involved with manufacturing the product, but are critical to support of this process. It is responsible for improving the organization and management administration and support departments to better support our production and customer satisfaction. By adding this pillar, we can see that virtually everyone is involved with eliminating losses to our production process. The main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Pillar 8, safety and environment. Maybe the last, but definitely not the least. Safety and environmental management is a big pillar. This pillar strives to make all employees safer. Training is used to help spot hazards and ask employees to continuously look for safer ways to do their job. This pillar is also responsible for environmental compliance. In the USA, this is a natural fit for the safety, health, and environment functions of a company. This table is called the Loss Reduction Summary Table, and it helps us track the results of all activities within our TPM activities throughout the company. This is used to record and track projects at every plant. The table is maintained at every plant and is reviewed monthly by the COO, corporate TPM manager, and other members of senior management. It actually tracks the improvements completed and the results. It also helps to identify follow-up confirmation and horizontal deployment. If the project can work together in another location or area, it can be horizontally deployed. Tracking to see when the project has been successful and confirm that the results were achieved. And finally, horizontal deployment to other locations or other areas of the plant. So, what did Inks get out of all this effort? This is an excerpt from the activity report that was submitted to the JIPM as part of the pre-assessment process. It lists some of the key virtues that were discovered. Besides growth and cost reduction, some of the big items that was the elimination of breakdown interruptions, improved operators and facilities, and thousands of employee suggestions that were put to work. Ten years later, TPM and the business management system has been merged together into a new way to think, plan, and react. The quality system and the TPM systems are integrated in a balanced manner. In the USA, Inc. has not applied for any other awards for JIPM, but every plan has a commitment from management that they will be supported for the application if they believe they are ready. They continue to hold Kaizen showcases and TPM health checks at all plants on a regular basis. In 2010, as you can see here, our key executives received the award for TPM progress from the JIPM in Kyoto, Japan. And the award looks like this, as well as a glass obelisk. If you're interested in further information about TPM, these links might be helpful. I would start with the JIPM website and look for the application outline and start with that document. That document covers the checklist that I talked about and a lot of the details about what the award is, how it's done, etc.